Hey guys, how's it going? Night Owl here. Welcome back to my Hoot Crew. I hope everybody is having a blessed day. So let's get into today's video of boundaries. Okay, so where we left off last time was in the What Do Boundaries Look Like chapter, and we stopped and finished with the geographical distance. So today we're going to start with time. So it says taking time off from a person or a project can be a way of regaining ownership over some out of control aspect of your life where boundaries needs to be set. So here, for me, this is like when you have that person that you absolutely love them and stuff like that, but they do have little quirks that get on your nerves sometimes. Or they're argumentative sometimes, and it's good to step back and take a break from those people, recharge yourself, recalculate things, and then you can still be friends with them. We need that break. We need it from our children, from our spouses, from our parents, everything. So it says adult children who never quite spiritually and emotionally separate from their parents often need time away. They have spent their whole lives embracing and keeping Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, verses 5 to 6, and have been afraid to refrain from embarrassing and to throw away some of their outgrown ways of relating. They need to spend time building boundaries against the old ways and create new ways of relating that for a while may feel alienating to their parents. This time apart usually improves their relationship with their parents. Now, I know for me that once I moved out and everything else, I did at some point in my life have to move back to my parents for a couple of weeks because my kids and I were moving from one province to another. Now, with that transition, it was hard. And losing the privacy that I had gained and the rules I had set for my kids while we were at my parents', that was really difficult. So I had to find a place quick, get a new place, and then reinstate those rules and get my privacy back. So the next part that we went to is emotional distance. So emotional distance is a temporary boundary to give your heart the space it needs to be safe. It is never a permanent way of living. People who have been in abusive relationships need to find a safe place to begin to thaw out emotionally. So that just means, like when we've been through a hard time, all that goes through our head is, what did I do wrong? What can I change? Can I get them back? No, listening to sad songs and everything else. We need to take a break from all of that and realize we didn't do anything wrong, really. Maybe we did, but you know what? We are better for it and we're better off. And if things work out, they work out. And if they don't, we'll get over it. It will take time, but we need that break. Sometimes in abusive marriages, the abused spouse needs to keep emotional distance until the abusive partner begins to face his or her problems and become trustworthy. Now, in some instances with abusive relationships, I will say there are points where you need to get out. Don't be afraid to get out. If there is an abusive relationship you're in, especially if it's physically abusive and emotionally abusive, you need to take a break from that. Get away with the girls, reassess the situation, and figure out whether that's healthy for you to be in. You should not continue to set yourself up for hurt and disappointment. If you have been in an abusive relationship, you should wait until it is safe and until real patterns of change have been demonstrated before you go back. So many people are too quick to trust someone in the name of forgiveness and not make sure that the other is producing fruit in keeping with repentance. So that'll be found in Luke chapter 3, verse 8. So to continue to open yourself up emotionally to an abusive or addictive person without seeing true change is foolish. Forgive, but guard your heart until you see substantial change. Now, and that's definitely where I'm at right now. Until I see certain people change and stuff like that, I can't be in a relationship with them. So it says other people. So you need to depend on others to help you set and keep your boundaries. People subject to another person's addictions, control, or abuse are finding that after years and years of loving too much, they can find the ability to create boundaries only through a support group. Their support system is giving them the strength to say no to abuse and control for the first time in their lives. So don't get down on support groups and friends. Like, if you're a good listener and you always have those friends that come to you when they need you, help them to be there for you when you need them, because we all need that emotional support. There are 2 reasons why you need others to help you with boundaries. The first is that your most basic need in life is for relationship, whether it be friends, a spouse, children, parents, whatever, brothers and sisters. People suffer much to have relationships, and many put up with abuse because they fear their partners will leave them and they will be alone if they stand up to them. Fear of being alone keeps many in hurtful patterns for years. They are afraid that if they set boundaries, they will not have any loves in their lives. But we as Christians, we know that we are never truly alone because Jesus is always right by our side listening. So when they open themselves up to support from others, however, they find change. That the abusive person are not the only source of love in the world, and that they can find the strength through their support systems to set the limits they need to set. They are no longer alone. The Church of Christ is there to give strength to ward off the blows against them. The other reason we need others is because we need new input and teaching. So it goes to the saying is you learn something new every day, and we do. We learn something. We are never going to know everything, but we will learn something new every day about ourselves and about the world. So many people have been taught by their church or other family that boundaries are unbiblical. Now, I'm not saying every church does that, but there is some churches that do teach that. They teach that boundaries are unbiblical, mean, or selfish. These people need good biblical support systems to help them stand against the guilt that comes from the old tapes inside them tell them lies to keep them in bondage. So a lot of people will make you feel guilty if you're not giving everything to the church and this and that and the other thing. And it's hard to say no. It really is. But if you cannot do it, don't do it. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to feel like, why did I agree to do this and everything else? Because then you're letting down your boundaries again. So they need supportive others to stand against the old messages and the guilt involved in change. In part 2, we will be discussing the greater detail of how to build boundaries in all of the primary relationships in our lives. So our point for now is that boundaries are not built in a vacuum. Creating boundaries always involves a support network. So the last part I'm going to read here is called consequences. Trespassing on other people's property carries consequences. So no trespassing signs usually carry a threat of prosecution if someone steps over the boundaries. The Bible teaches this principle over and over, saying that if we walk one way, this will happen, and if we walk another way, something else will happen. Just as the Bible sets consequences for certain behaviors, we need to back up our boundaries with consequences. How many marriages could have been saved if one spouse had followed through with the threat of, if you don't stop drinking or coming home at midnight or hitting me or yelling at the kids, I will leave you until you get some treatment? Or how many young adults' lives would have been turned around if their parents had followed through with their threat of no more money if you quit another job without having further employment, or no bed if you continue to smoke marijuana in my house. Paul is not kidding in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10 when he says that if anyone will not work, don't let him or her eat. God does not enable irresponsible behavior. Hunger is a consequence of laziness. So Proverbs 16 verse 26 talks about that. So consequences give some good barbs to fences. They let people know what the seriousness of the trespass and the seriousness of our respect for ourselves. This teaches them that our commitment to living according to helpful values is something we hold dear and will fight to protect and guard. So, we need to set our boundaries. And yes, sometimes we need to talk to someone about it to help them reinforce our thoughts and reassure us that we're making the right decisions with those boundaries. Yes, you know what? I'm going to say no this time. But, next time, you know what? We'll go. Or, I want to help out at the church, but I have to work these shifts, so unfortunately I can't. And it's just, don't feel bad saying no to someone if you absolutely have to. But if you're using no as an excuse just to not do it at all, then there's an issue. Then you need to reassess your boundaries and look at it and go, you know what? What's wrong with me helping? I can help. It's only one day, right? So anyways, we're going to go into the workbook and we're going to ask you a few more questions and leave you with that so that you can take a look at things. Now, what we were looking for is the examples of boundaries. And just a review of it says that a boundary is anything that helps differentiate you from someone else or shows where you begin and end. So we looked at the skin, words, especially the word no, truth, and geographical distance last week. So this week, I'm gonna ask you to turn around and look at your boundaries or things that have broken down your boundaries or whatever else in your time, your emotional distance, other people, and consequences. So take a look at those and see, where you stand or where your boundaries are and everything else, and what things have caused you to open your boundaries, or to your boundaries have failed, or your boundaries have succeeded and things are going well. So, you can comment in the chat below. You can comment on my Instagram and my Twitter, which are in the description. And if you ever need to talk, just email me at thenightowl258@gmail.com. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. Bye. Hey guys, if you stuck around to the end, you guys are legends. I just wanted to give you a talk about this. This is my Hoot Crew Hall of Fame. If you have stickers for your channel, please make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter, and I can give you my address and you can send me one of your stickers to put on my Hoot Crew Hall of Fame. And also remember, this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is wrestling trivia. Hope to see you there, guys. Bye.